Probeer je Nederlands te leren, maar het lukt niet. Praten de mensen met je in het Engels meer dan in het Nederlands en daardoor kun je de taal niet oefenen. Geen probleem. In deze video zal ik je handige trucs om het Engels naar het Nederlands te converteren en andersom. Ik zal met jullie mijn geheimen delen om sneller Nederlands te leren. En maak je geen zorgen, ik zal alles op het Engels uitleggen. Laten we naar Nederland gaan.
We know that Frisian is still the closest language to Anglo-Saxon, and it's also in this country in the northern part of the Netherlands and also the northern part of Germany. And this is the closest language to English in continental Europe. But we're gonna see how Dutch and English are related. First of all, the ending of verbs is quite similar to German. We're gonna find an en at the end of verbs, such as helpen, but you pronounce it as something like that. You don't really say the n at the end. Helpen. In German, you would say more like helpen, helfen, and this helfen, you can hear more the n, but you don't hear the vowel, so it's not the same pronunciation. Even though it's written just like in German, it has a completely different pronunciation. The structure is quite similar to German. You know, when you have a modal verb, the second verb goes always at the end.
But leaving a bit the grammar aside, let's focus more on this video on vocabulary. So let's start to learn our 14 rules for converting English into Dutch and vice versa. Rule number 1. Words in Proto-West Germanic that have I, English turns them into O's and Dutch turns them into A's. I call Dutch the A language because this is a sound that you would hear pretty often. For instance, bone in Dutch is bane, but in Proto-West Germanic it had two meanings. It had the meaning of something long and stiff like a bone and the meaning of leg. Dutch keeps both meanings, but English keeps only the meaning of bones. Stone, stain, home, heim. To be honest, the word heim is no longer used. It's more like an archaic word. Dutch understand the word, but it's more used in poetic contexts. No, nay, clothe, clay, alone, alain, one, ein, two, twee, and so on and so on. Rule number 2. Words that start in English with S, Dutch made them vibrant and they became Z. For instance, stand, zand, see, zee, zeven, zeven, sick, ziek, summer, zomer, sweet, zoet, and so on and so on. Rule number 3. It seems that Anglo-Saxon didn't like G's that much. They either disappeared them or turned them into I's or Y's. For instance, in Proto-West Germanic, the past participle of verbs started with the prefix ga, something that in Dutch became ge, but it disappeared completely in English. So to say said, in Dutch you would say gezegd. You can see another G there that also English turned into I. Let's read a few examples. Enough. Genoeg. The G comes back and the last G is pronounced, whereas in English it's not. Rain, regen, nail, nagel, day, dag, lei, legen, mei, mag, eye, oog, toy, tuig. Tuig with the meaning of a tool or trinket. Fly, vliegen, yell, gillen, yawn, gruwen. Words ending in T, Dutch would be tug. You don't pronounce the I as E, but as like 40, 40. Rule number 4. Words in Proto-West Germanic that used to have a long U sound or ow, Dutch turned the long U sounds into ow sounds and the ow sounds into o sounds, whereas English turned mostly the long U sounds into ows and the ow sounds into e sounds, and for the rest English did whatever. Let's read a few examples. Room in the sense of a space, round with the meaning of spacious, house, house, mouse, mouse, out, south, zuid, town, town, with the meaning of garden. Tuin, in Proto-West Germanic, it meant something enclosed, an enclosure. And English took the sense of a town surrounded by a fence, and Dutch took the sense of a garden surrounded by a fence, whilst German took the sense of the fence. Zaun means fence in German. Bruin, brown, brown, up, dove, dav, eye, oog, leap, which means something like hopping or jumping in English, lopen, which means to walk, cheap, which comes from Old English chepen, bargaining. In Dutch, kopen means buying, dream, drome, leaf, loaf, with the meaning of foliage, east, oost, beam, boom, with the meaning of tree, believe, geloof, with a different prefix. Rule number 5. Words in English spelled with GH are not longer pronounced, they went completely silent, but Dutch still retains the g sound from Proto-West Germanic. Let's read a few examples. Night, nacht, 8, 8, brought, bracht, thought, dacht, daughter, dochter, height, hoogte, spelled with a G, but still same pronunciation, though, doch, with archaic, laugh, lachen. Sometimes the GH is pronounced as an F as a result of the mispronunciation of G from all English. Freight, Vracht, and so on and so on. Rule number 6. Words in English having O, AW, or OW, they used to be ge or gen in Proto-West Germanic, and Dutch retains that. Let's read a few examples. Draw, with the meaning of dragging. Dragen, with the meaning of carrying something, pretty similar. Ma, this is the animal stomach. Maag, this is a general stomach in Dutch. Saw, as in tool. Zag, rainbow, regenboog, morrow, morgen, sorrow, zorgen, with the meaning of worries. Follow, volgen, fowl, vogel, with the meaning of a normal bird. Rule number 7. Words in English having OLD, even ALD or ALT, they retain the L's from Proto-West Germanic, but Dutch turned them into use and modified their pronunciation. Let's read a few examples. Gold, goud, cold, koud, hold, hout, fold, vouwen, Middle Dutch vouden, old, oud, bold, bout. This is pretty archaic. Dutch people say nowadays boude uitspraak, with the meaning of bold to say that. Sold, zout. Rule number 8. Words from Proto-West Germanic starting with K, many of them have been turned into CH in English, but Dutch retains that. Let's compare. Cheese, kaas, cheap, koop, as in buying, church, kerk, chin, kin, chest, as in trunk, kist, meaning box, churl, and archaic in English, kerel, meaning fellow in Dutch. Rule number 9. Long O sounds in Proto-West Germanic, followed by a consonant and then an E sound, English has turned them into E, whilst Dutch turned them into U. For instance, greet, groeten, feel, voelen, seek, zoeken, fit, voeten, sweet, zoet, green, groen. How did it get from swoti to sweet? Well, there is a process called metathesis. That means when a letter, in this case a vowel, used to be in one syllable, people, through mispronunciation, they move it to a different syllable. So swoti became something like swoit. From swoit, this turned into sweet, and then sweet. Suffix in English ending in scape and ship, pretty easy. In Dutch they'll be schap. For instance, friendship, vriendschap, landscape, landschap. Rule number 10. N's in Anglo-Saxon disappear from Proto-West Germanic. They were nasalized, but Dutch retains most of them. For instance, the N comes back when the next word starts with a vowel, like an apple, but Dutch always keeps the N. Een apple. Goose, gans, mouth, mond, mij, mijn, other, under, us, ons, wish, wens, tooth, tand. Rule number 11. Some words in English ending in V's, in Dutch they become F. For instance, raven, graaf, grave, graaf, dove, duif, vijf. Rule number 12. Words in Proto-West Germanic starting with the thorn sound, English retains that phoneme as a TH, but Dutch and German turns them into Ds. For instance, think, denk, thank, dank, that, thick, dick, thirsty, dorstig, tooth, hand, think, ding. Rule number 13. Words in Proto-West Germanic having a long E sound, English turned them into I's, in some cases double E, and Dutch turns them all into A sounds. For instance, tide, with the ancient meaning of time, like Christmas tide, in Dutch it means time. Wine, wijn. Keep in mind that in some variants of Dutch, the W may be pronounced like oo, wijn, especially in Belgium. Mijn, mijn. Vijf, dijk, dijk. We may also find the Anglo-Saxon variant of ditch, also cognate with dike. Like, as in comparison, lijken, which means resembling. Shine, schijnen. Ijs, ijs. Rise, rijst. From French, ri, bij. Free, vrij. And finally, Rule 14. Words in Proto-West Germanic having an A, Dutch retains them and English turns them into long O's or O's. For instance, moon, man, hoog, hack, goose, gans, month, mand, tooth, tand, soft, zacht. Previously, it was an N, but through mispronunciation, it became G sound. Used to be sanft in Old Dutch. Long, lang, bond, band, as an accessory that binds two things together.
Another change we can find in Dutch compared to English could be the ending hood in English, which creates abstract concepts. We can find it as heid in Dutch, gezondheid, So here you can find the word sound, which is also used in English as sound, which means healthy. That's why we use safe and sound when you get home, safe and healthy. So from this word sound, it's easy to make it Dutch. We just add the G prefix, gezond, and then the ending heid, and there you have the word for health. It'll be pretty interesting to think that many words from Dutch can be found in Spanish even. For instance, Dutch people say gezellig, which means something really cool. You are enjoying yourself. You say gezellig. And this word came to Spain through the Visigoths. You know, Visigoths spoke a Germanic language which is related to Dutch as well. And this word was gasaje. This was some sort of reconstruction. We don't have, we cannot fully attest the exact pronunciation. And from gasaje, it turned something like gasacho. And from gasacho, agasacho, and then agasajo in modern Spanish. It's not a word that is widely used. We understand that. It sounds to us like a very old word, but still, we can use it and understand it. And those are the main differences. So if you're trying to learn Dutch, it's going to be pretty easy. Their accents are hard to understand. They speak too fast, but if you do ask them to speak slowly, it's not going to be a big challenge. Just keep in mind these changes and you can try to construct your own words in Dutch from English. That's all for today. Thank you for coming, and subscribe and share.